Hello. How are you doing? So obviously tourism to America, especially from certain countries, has been crashing for obvious reasons, whether it's because of the tariffs, the trade war, or because of how we've been deporting people who are trying to visit our country, back to their country for stupid reasons that really don't make any sense. Or you just don't like Trump or whatever it is. Tourism crashing. I wanted to react to some stats about that and get an update on it. So, this video is by Discovery Case. Link down below. Check them out. Let's do it.
I just moved to Toronto, Canada, from Raleigh, North Carolina.
Nobody I know back in England or here would go to the U.S. at the moment.
As America embarks on its America First foreign policy, a lot of non-Americans are feeling, well, kind of unwelcome. In fact, dozens of countries have already issued travel advisories to their citizens.
This was not a natural...
Right, yeah. I know Germany updated theirs. Yeah, that's very interesting. I feel like the whole America First thing, it totally neglected the fact that America's economy relies heavily on, obviously, the rest of the world. Not just tourism, but also people around the world using our services and businesses and stuff.
Disaster, not a coronavirus outbreak or a global crisis, but America's tourism industry is quietly collapsing without anyone noticing. While the rest of the world, especially Europe, is recovering, US tourism is drifting towards the bottom. Los Angeles, Miami, New York. Hotels are empty, flights are cancelled, shopping streets are deserted, because foreign tourists are now turning their route to other countries. This year alone, it is estimated that the US will lose over $15 billion in international visitor revenues. Tourism, once one of the most important drivers of the country's economic growth, is now an early harbinger of a major crisis to come. Because this is not just a lack of visitors, it is the result of a chain effect ranging from high inflows of money to political tensions, from trade wars to a crisis of perception. And the worst thing,
It is interesting. I barely remember a time, of decades past where you would hear, people around the world, Europeans, express their interest in traveling to America. I just don't hear that much anymore.
one is talking about this silent catastrophe properly.
Definitely not right now.
My friends, please like this video so that many more people can see it. Let's first look at Canada, once America's best mate. In
I
2000,
almost feel like people might judge you if you're like, yeah, I'm looking at traveling to America. I don't know. Is it that bad? People might be like, ew.
2025, after the Trump
It's pretty sad for me as an American.
administration imposed a 25% tariff on Canadian products, the Ottawa government issued a clear call: don't go on holiday to the United States. And this call has had a profound impact. In 2025, the number of tourists traveling from Canada to the United States fell by almost 20% and continues to decline as we
Jesus.
enter June.
And it's especially impacted those towns that border Canada, where there was a lot of travel. Canadians that live near that border might just come on any given day just to come over here and have lunch, And I guess those towns have all kind of experienced a huge decline.
This is one of the steepest declines ever experienced by a single country. For years, Canada was the largest source of foreign tourists to the United States.
Oh,
Many
I didn't know that.
Canadian
I mean, that makes sense, but okay.
families used to come to various parts of the United States and enjoy themselves to the fullest. But things have changed now, after the call. For Canadians, not setting foot in the national America now means national stance. In fact, a few days after the call, millions of potential visits were cancelled.
It is, though, you have to admit, difficult for Canadians to travel. It's a lot more convenient to holiday in America than go to like Europe or something. You just drive to America. A lot of them live near the border. Like I said, like it's not that far. So, you got some easy vacation options. So that's unfortunate for them. More so us, but also them.
Tourists from the Netherlands, Germany, China, and the United Kingdom are now also changing their routes. According to official documents, the number of international visitors to the United States is expected to fall by about 10% this year. This means a loss of more than $15 billion for the US economy. Hotels, restaurants, shops, airports, all are feeling the direct impact of this loss, and this huge money is now flowing into Europe, Asia, or Latin America, so all over the world, but not to America. Before we go on, press that
It's really rubbing it in, huh?
subscribe button to show your support for the channel. Now let's look at the numbers.
I mean, to be honest, I wish it was that rosy of a story where it's like, you know, it's not coming here, it's going elsewhere, but I feel like it's a little bit more complicated than that. It's kind of bad all around.
6 years ago, in 2019, America earned
To an extent, I'm sure it's like that.
$230 billion from the money left by tourists from abroad.
Damn.
Although this figure bottomed out with the pandemic, the world returned to normal within 2 years. But it is not possible to say this for America. While Europe, Asia, and even Latin America are recovering, America is still looking for the old days with a candle. According to 2025 data, international travel expenditures will decline from $185 billion to less than $168 billion. In other words, there will be a loss of $17 billion in just 1 year. Moreover, this is not all.
And it's just getting started because people already planned these vacations, you know? People already planned a lot of vacations they're taking to America right now. I feel like it's just going to get worse, at least until the end of the Trump administration.
Because tourists do not want to travel. On the contrary, flights around the world are full and tourist cities are working over capacity. But this mobility bypasses America because it is no longer a question of traveling costs or catering costs. The problem is much deeper than we realize. It is very clear: diplomatic mistrust. The aggressive steps taken by the White House, the trade threats, and the high tariffs on allies have seriously damaged America's image. And let's not forget, foreign governments may embargo you, but their citizens quietly move their luggage elsewhere. And America is now facing
There's a lot of intangible repercussions to some of the stuff Trump does that I feel like he just doesn't even consider.
a very quiet but very costly protest. It only takes good observation to realize this. The impact of such an aggressive trade war is felt not only in the products on the shelves, but also in the drastic reduction in the number of airline tickets purchased to the US. In recent weeks, the Chinese government has even sent a message to its citizens to reconsider traveling to the US. The official reasons cited include rising political tensions and mutual
I mean, we've always had tensions with China for a long time now, so.
economic retaliation. However, in the past years, Chinese tourists were pouring millions of dollars into the USA. Five-star hotels and specialty restaurants were full of special offers for Chinese visitors. Now this intensity has been replaced by silence. It cannot be said that Europeans are also flocking to America. It is not as vocal as China or Canada, but of course it is moving
You guys are pretty vocal in the comments.
in a similar direction.
Maybe not, you know, like the official leaders necessarily, especially while negotiations were still happening as far as trade and stuff.
Because the heavy tariffs imposed by President Trump on steel and aluminium imports have created a shock in Brussels. Allegedly, behind closed doors, promotional budgets for the United States are being cut, visas are being made more difficult, and even diplomats are minimizing travel to Europe. In fact, what is clearest of all is the booking data. There is a deliberate reduction in European travel to the United States. On the contrary, Americans are turning to Europe. This is not only an economic trend, but also a clear indication of
I actually know a couple of people who moved to Europe
how the global
in
perception
the last 2 years.
has changed with the new American government. Tariff fights are now reflected even in suitcases. Friends, please stop the video, subscribe to the channel, and like.
I mean, people have always kind of threatened that. You know, people say that anytime, especially anytime Trump's elected, which has happened twice now. And he's been in 3 elections. It's been so long now. Oh, my God. I'm so glad the Trump era will be over after this presidency. But anyway, you know, they'll always say, we're moving to Canada or Europe. Well, now I actually know someone who did.
Like the video. The World Travel and Tourism Council predicts that the US could lose up to $15 billion in revenue from international tourists this year, as I said at the beginning of the video. This money will not return. It will not be spent on the Brooklyn Bridge, the Times Square, or Las Vegas. Hotel bookings in the quaint little town of Bar Harbor.
Las Vegas is struggling right now, from what I understand, for multiple reasons. Something weird is happening with Las Vegas.
In Maine are down over 70%.
The prices are all through the roof. They're like they're resorting to all these scammy fees in Las Vegas. I've heard a lot of people say don't go. And I love Las Vegas. It sucks.
Hotel bookings in the quaint little town of Bar Harbor in Maine are down over 70%. This means a full-blown crisis for family-run motels, gift shops, and small restaurants. Even Cape Town in Massachusetts, a popular foreign destination, especially in the summer, has lost 15% of its foreign visitors. Las Vegas has become the epicenter of this crisis. Everyone knows that Las Vegas is a city where tourists pour millions of dollars into. But things have changed. Tour groups from Europe and Asia are almost non-existent. Tours are cancelled, guides are out of work, casinos are losing their big players. It's not just a loss of revenue, it's an erosion of labor, reputation, and cultural ties. The world stage is watching.
I am a little bit worried about Vegas. I love Vegas, you know.
This change.
I mean, of course, Vegas, the fact that it's run on a whole, you know, all the gambling and stuff, and it's the whole business model is a little bit sketchy, but with that said, I really enjoy it. So, you know, that's just me. And you used to actually be able to get a lot of good deals in Vegas. You know, you could stay at a hotel for $40 a night, or even some would send you free nights. And then you get free drinks, you know, alcoholic beverages in the casinos, you know. Those are all being cut back now.
Canada is directing its citizens to other destinations. I think America has forgotten that magic word, welcome. Visitors who are welcomed as threats rather than guests are naturally changing their routes. If this trend continues, recovery will take much longer. Analysts say that US tourism will not fully recover before 2029. But it's not too late. Visa processes can be improved, but it is no longer easy to get a visa for the US. On the contrary, it is quite cumbersome. Months-long waiting.
Yeah, Trump's basically like, hey, we don't want you here, and the rest of the world is like, got it. We ain't coming.
Times for visa applications, stringent fingerprint scans, and vague entry rules
Be careful what you ask for.
deter many travelers.
Wish for, that's what I meant to say.
Countries such as Belgium and the Netherlands are issuing official warnings to their citizens, saying, even if you have a visa, there are no guarantees. Even old buddy Canada is now warning tourists traveling to the US about lengthy security screenings. When a tourist compares eating a croissant in Paris with the risk of being interrogated at John Kennedy International Airport in New York, he or she quickly changes his or her course. But I am sure you will be
it's a hard sell.
surprised by
I've heard apparently TSA here in America, I thought it was this way around the world, but our TSA is such assholes. I really don't like them.
this. During the Trump era, it was announced that visas would not be granted to women who were thought to have come only to give birth. This became an agenda in many countries, especially in Latin America. So how was America affected by this situation? Cancelled tours, empty seats, and a historic decline in the US share of global tourism. This is not just a temporary recession, this is a permanent trend. Many airports in the country are now reducing their flights, because not only passengers but also aeroplanes are now bypassing America. Tariff policies have made aircraft maintenance, parts and logistics expensive, but there are no passengers to fill the planes. According to some research companies, these tariffs may reduce the growth of the US economy to 1.4%, while inflation may approach 4%. In fact, the result
I freaking hope not.
is very clear.
Please God, let inflation be dead, you know? Hey, at least since consumerism is super weak and stuff, it means inflation is going down, guys. Yay!
Americans' wallets are shrinking.
Because nobody can afford anything.
Spending is decreasing, especially in sectors such as travel and entertainment. The economic burden is being shifted to the grassroots, and the bill is being quietly passed on to middle and low-income laborers.
That was abrupt. That was an abrupt ending, guys. The USA, we are the center of the universe, the world. No, you're the atom. Warning, do not go to America. Jesus. Oh boy. Does not feel good. A little bit scary as an American to see all this vitriol for America. You know, I mean, my whole life, America's been kind of that country that people, you know, it's like, ah, stupid America. But, you know, people still wanted to come here, and they're like, oh, you know, the movies are good. And it's got some cool places to go. Now it's just like, fuck you, America. Oh, boy. Anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye.